The member for Eabametoong.
Speaker, this question is for the Deputy Premier. Your ancestors and mine signed Treaty Number 9 in 1905 with adhesion, essentially additions made in 1929. The basis of that treaty is how together we manage and share the benefits from the land and then do so in a way that is mutually beneficial. A recent court decision on the Ontario Divisional Court ruled that the Ministry of Northern Development and Mines failed to properly carry out the Crown's constitutional duty to consult with the Eabametoong before approving the Landore gold exploration project. Deputy Premier, do you intend to respect the court's decision and live up to the obligations under the treaty and properly consult the community as per court's decision?
Deputy Premier.
To the Minister of Natural Resources.
Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank the member opposite for that question. Ontario is blessed with incredible opportunities when it comes to our natural resources, and it's true not only for us and Ontarians, but also our Indigenous communities who stand to benefit from economic development in mining, forestry, and natural resource development. And we are committed as a government to bring good jobs back to this province in Northern Ontario by developing our natural resources, working with our strong local partnerships, our municipalities, our Indigenous communities to make Ontario open for business again. And we will duly consult with Indigenous communities as well as Northern Ontarians and rural municipalities going forward as we develop our northern resources.
Supplementary.
Speaker, back to the Deputy Premier. On July 9th, 2018, the Mamakwa chiefs sent a welcoming letter to the Premier asking to re-engage the vital regional negotiations necessary in order to set up the Ring of Fire. The Premier's office wrote the chiefs to say that the Minister of Indigenous Affairs would follow up. That was on August 9th, yet no meetings have been scheduled. The historic regional framing agreement for the Ring of Fire has stalled because the government hasn't engaged with the Mamakwa chiefs since this election. As noted, Mr. Speaker, Eabametoong First Nation Chief Atlookan is here today. Will the Premier direct the Minister of Indigenous Affairs not to get on the bulldozer, but to meet with Chief Atlookan today to begin a dialogue, as affirmed by the courts, so that future mines may someday go forward in a way that honors the treaty and that is mutually beneficial to all parties?
Minister.
Thank you again for that question, member opposite. Through you to Speaker, through to you to the member. The Ring of Fire has great potential for the province of Ontario, and unfortunately over the past 15 years it's been stagnant, not only because of lack of consultations, but also the government opposite promised time and time again but failed to follow through, which is the problem with Ontario in general. We need a province that's open for business. We need a province that's growing the resource development throughout Northern Ontario and our rural communities. That is what's going to make Ontario strong again. That's what's going to make Ontario open for business. The Minister of Indigenous Affairs, Minister of Energy, Minister of Northern Development and Mines, it takes his duty to consult very seriously, and he will continue to build those relationships with Indigenous communities, municipalities, to build lasting partnerships. My ministry has been tasked with developing resource sharing with communities across this province. We are working towards that. We are going to be partners in this communities with Indigenous communities, with Northern Ontario, with rural communities. Ontario is open for business under the government of Doug Ford.